Hello and welcome to the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Bible alongside Darren Shorrock. A lot of exciting things coming up for this weekend, Coach. Before we start talking about opening weekend and, of course, the Stan Bronson deal on Friday, pretty special weekend this past weekend. M Club Hall of Fame. Chad Zerker put into the M Club Hall of Fame. I believe that's your first alumni here now that goes into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's really special. And you coach a long time at any sport at any level, and not have a national statistical leader in two categories in 1 year. That'd be like somebody leading the country in, touchdown passes or yard. I guess D'Angelo Williams led it in all-purpose yards 1 year. So pretty special to see Chad go in, especially the kind of person he is, the kind of teammate he was. And he was just really a self-made guy that wasn't highly recruited, that bought into a system and turned himself into a professional player, an opportunity to play professional baseball. So that was fun to see him get celebrated, and also fun to see Bill Edwards, another former Tiger baseball player, be celebrated for his work in the Tiger athletic department.
Coach, now it is opening week, and let's address the days leading up. You're going to have one inter-squad game left, and then you're playing for real this weekend.
Yeah, we've had a lot of cold preparation days, but we've had a lot of dry days. We've had the tarp on quite a bit. We haven't lost time that I had previously scheduled and planned for on-field preparation. The conditions have not been ideal. Right. We've been in a lot of 35-degree wind chill days, and winds out of the north, and so we battled through a lot of that, which affects a little bit of evaluation and performance. But all in all, I think this team, the last couple of times I've seen them live, they look like a team that's more ready to play than they did 3 weeks ago, which is encouraging. One more inter-squad today, Tuesday, which will be all of our relievers getting an inning. We'll set up some situations of late in the game bunt defenses, late in the game first thirds, some situational pitching that we got to look at. And then it's go time, and still in the process of really solidifying the rotation. I know what we're going to do this weekend. Will be Riley Cabral on Friday, Jonathan Bolin Saturday, and Alex Hicks on Sunday. The excitement that I have is we have some piggyback guys, and we have a 3 or 4 headed bullpen personnel that we have a lot of faith and trust in now, that if we can get the game to them.
Coming into the season, you knew Jonathan was coming back, and of course Hicks, and you kind of had an idea of the rotation. Your biggest deal this year, plugging in some holes in the lineup, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of moves at least the first few weeks.
Yeah, Kyle Olette, a junior college transfer from Walter State, has kind of solidified himself as the guy that will start at first base to replace Trent Turner. Cale Hanneman will replace Brandon Gruzelanek at second. Cale was in the program last year, just was ineligible due to transfer. So he's not like he knows the system. He'll be an integral part of that offense, as a left-handed bat that will be in that middle part of that order somewhere, with not the major power potential, but he's hit a few home runs in the preseason here. Trello, it looks like he's really picked up where he left off, with a little, he's going to be a little bit more on an island, doesn't have as much help around him, but he's more capable. His thing is we want him to swing at the right pitches, and he's doing that. Unbelievable amount of bat speed and power for a shortstop, and then third base looks like it's going to be Kyle O'Keefe. Okay. And it's that junior college cycle of it kind of takes a year to figure it out, and then the next year he's been very good. Kyle is a company man. Love what he does defensively, sticks his nose in there, and I feel good about those guys on the infield. Colton Neal kind of has solidified himself as probably going to be the guy that's going to lead off for us and play right field. Of course, Tyler Webb in center is Tyler Webb, and we'll build the offense around what he can do. And then left field looks like fifth-year senior Carlos Williams. Yeah. And what a joy it is to write Carlos's name in the starting lineup and looking at what he's become who we want him to become. He's not a great hitter, not a great thrower, but he's a great teammate, and he knows what he has to do to play offense, and that's very encouraging.
Those are the guys you always root for, but he's come in, he's been happy with his role, he's pinch run, he's been a little defensive replacement, he's just put in the work.
Put in the work, and the biggest jump he's made is his bat speed, and he's driving balls through the infield, coming off his bat a lot harder now. Jason Santana has really has created balance in his game now where he is ready to contribute offensively. He's been kind of a defensive guy. We got to find ways to keep pressure off of him, of catching a lot so that we can continue to get offense out of him the second half of the year. He's ready to hit now, and he's shown us that. His fall and his preseason, he's really swung the bat well. Now it comes to the point that we provide the right amount of rest for him to keep that bat in play. The catching position is you get worn down where you get a lot of times when you're catching a guy that the second half of the year you don't get much offense out of him, and we got to find a way to do that with Jason because he's swinging the bat well.
Got Western Kentucky coming in. They're a pretty consistent NCAA regional ball club.
In that joint conference USA, so it's kind of elevated players that they have access to. They have access to a little different kind of player now. A lot of tradition, a lot of history in that program. John Pulowski, former head coach at Auburn, is very well thought of in the recruiting circles. They've got more of their guys in. And once the first year or two that you take a program over, you're playing the hand you're dealt. Now he's playing the hand that they've selected. And I think you'll see a very big elevation in talent level over what he probably inherited. So, the years that he spent at Auburn in the SEC, you develop a lot of contacts. So it'll be a good ball club. John and he was an assistant at Clemson when I was at Georgia back in the day. So we ran the roads together, recruiting a little bit. So in this business, when you're in it 34 years, just about every staff you play, there's somebody on that staff that you have a connection to. I'm excited to renew this series with them. We return the trip next year, and it'll be a good series and good Conference USA opponent.
All right, Coach, the biggest challenge this weekend obviously going to be the weather. Before we address that issue,
You're in charge of that.
Yeah, well, hopefully I don't fail that. But the biggest thing we want to mention before we get into this discussion about the weather, the tribute to Stan Bronson Jr. Friday at 1 o'clock, it's going to be at 1 o'clock, rain, shine, rain out, snow out, regardless. The tribute for Stan staying at 1 o'clock in the turf room.
In the turf room. We did it in there for a reason so that will, knowing that the kind of weather you face open weekend, things get shuffled around. We can stay consistent and honor Stan in the right way. It'll be I anticipate a ceremony that takes maybe 30 minutes tops. More of a chance for former athletes, former students, people that knew Stan to mingle and see each other. We hope what comes out of this. We'll have a few people that'll speak briefly, and I'm going to share a couple ways that we're going to honor Stan as our team this year, and then we turn our attention to Western Kentucky. But I think Stan would have loved just the fact that we get all these former players back together to spend time and tell stories about Stan with each other.
And that's going to be available. You talk about the players and alumni, but anyone that wants to come out.
And we call it Friends of Stan, and anybody that was friends of Stan. Yeah. We've got people driving in from out of town for this event, and it's just a special way to honor him. Stan's cousin, Steve Howard from California, is going to be here. So the family members that he has will be around, and they're excited about coming out to FedEx Park too. All
right, Coach, as it stands now, you've got a 4 o'clock opening day first pitch, 2 o'clock on Saturday, then your afternoon game Sunday. But obviously anyone that looks at the forecast knows there could be some issues. We want to let everyone know. Pay attention to GoTigersGo.com, the baseball Twitter, Facebook, all the social media. You're going to do everything you can to stay on that schedule, but as we know, things could float around a little bit. I guess and not to speculate too much, but I guess the most logical thing would be if Friday gets kind of messed up, you probably won't have much movement on Friday. You'd have to probably try to play a double on Saturday or
we've
Sunday.
Done that a lot, and they did a lot last year.
Yeah.
And what you try to do is you try to find a way going into a 3-game series. Let's find the best way to get 3 games in, and that's normally of doubling up and in the best weather conditions and the best playing conditions. And we struggle with some drainage issues in our outfield. We can keep the infield dry. We can keep it playable. The question will be safety and early in the season safety. What's smart? We'll make all those decisions with administrators and coaches, but we'll notify through all the social media of any time changes, and there's pretty common occurrence around college baseball.
All right, well, Coach, best of luck this weekend. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, Coach Darren Schoenrock. I'm Jeff Brightwell for the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.